Let me give y'all some storytime rules before we get started. I'm gonna turn the music back on. First rule is you have to take care of yourself, okay? You have to ask yourself, am I in the right mental space to be listening to a true crime story? If the answer is no, don't listen, okay? When you see me on this screen, you're gonna have to mute, click off something. You gotta take care of yourself, okay? The most important part of hanging out is taking care of yourself first, all right? Second rule, you cannot do a Google, okay? If you are listening to the story, you are in this, okay? This is a gang activity. We ride together. The music is so loud. I love crime stories and shows. I'm crazy addicted. Me too. But this is a gang activity, okay? There is no Googling until the end of the story. You are with us until the end. And if you do choose to do your Googles because you don't want to be an upstanding member of the Garden Gang, don't come in here with spoilers, okay? You get one shot. You get one shot. You come in here with spoilers one time, you're banned from the chat, okay? Don't fuck with my art. Okay. Now, this story has a couple of names in it. In the beginning, it might be a little hard to keep track of who is who. That's okay. Okay, because it will all make sense in the end. You just gotta stick with me. The year is 1998, and the mayor of Mexico City, Mr. Andres Manuel Lopez, has implemented a new public health initiative. In Mexico City, if you are now over the age of 70, you are entitled to an at-home nurse, a nurse that will come to your home every day, give you the medications you need, make sure that you're comfortable, and then service you the next day. And that sounds wonderful to me. I mean, one time in the chat for public health, am I right? We could all use public health here. So shout out to Mexico City in 1998. Shout out to Mayor Andres Manuel Lopez. So what this initiative is they send nurses to your doorstep. Nurses dressed in white nurses' outfits show up on your doorstep to take care of you. It is on one of those doorsteps that we find Araceli Martinez, standing next to her friend, dressed as a nurse, ready to go into this old woman's house. Now, inside this old woman's house, Araceli and her friend are stealing everything. They're taking the jewelry, they're taking the money, they're taking anything worth anything from this old lady dressed as nurses. That's a regular thing that happens for Araceli and her friend. That is a normal thing that happens. Another normal thing that happens is Araceli Martinez complaining to her boyfriend that her friend does not pull her weight on these jobs. Her friend is terrible at putting stuff in her pockets. Her friend is terrible at picking stuff that would actually be worth anything, and she feels like she's carrying the team. So she and her boyfriend put together a little plot. They are going to extort the money that the friend steals on these jobs so that they can have the entire take. And this is going to work because Araceli's boyfriend is a corrupt cop. So after the next job, Araceli's boyfriend, let's call him Cop Doc. He's not important. That's his name for right now. Cop Doc corners the friend and says, I know what you did. I'm going to arrest you. I'm going to take you to jail unless you can pay me 12,000 pesos. And that continues every job going forward. And that could be the end of the story, but it's not. Let's move our story a little bit back into the past. Let's go back to 1957. In 1957, in Hidalgo, Mexico, which is a little town north of Mexico City, there is a woman named Justa. Justa is an addict, okay? That is basically the entirety of her personality. She's into drugs. She likes drugs, she likes alcohol, and that's it. Justa meets a man, and she looks at this man and she says, you know, maybe you'd make a good life partner. Maybe you're someone that would make a great father. I don't know why she thought this about this man, Maybe it's because his name was Trinidad, and dad is right in the word, Trinidad. Yeah, he'd make a great dad. Or maybe it was because Trinidad already had
32 kids.
That is not an exaggeration. He had 32 kids. So when Justa realizes that she's pregnant by Trinidad, she's excited to tell him that his 33rd kid is on the way. Of course, this man who has 32 other kids with other women is going to stay with the baby mother of his 33rd. Of course he is. No, he didn't. He left. Well, we're not really sure whether he left or whether she left because he ain't shit, hello. But they did not stay together. However, Justa did give birth to a baby named Juana Barraza. And Justa and Juana had a life together. That life was not great for Juana because, again, Justa was into drugs, heavy drugs, a lot of drugs all of the time. So Juana grew up parenting her own mother and also not really being able to put anything into school. So she didn't learn how to read. She didn't learn how to write. Juana Barraza spent her childhood isolated and lonely, parenting her parent. In 1980, around the time Juana is, let's do some math. She was born in 57, so 67, 77. She's about 23. Justa, her mother, dies. And Juana, feeling that freedom, feeling that burden lift up off of her chest because she no longer has to take care of her mother, moves to Mexico City, where she has a ton of jobs. One of them, though, is a little less legal, and she does it with her friend, Araceli Martinez. One's in the chat if you've seen Encanto, because I need to know. I love that movie. I thought the music in that movie was great. The characters were great. My favorite character is Luisa. I just like how, she feels like she's so strong and she got the whole world on her back. And she's okay with it because she's strong and she can take care of everybody. And she shouldn't have to, but she does. And it's fine. Encanto is so good, right? Tell me how you felt about Abuela. On a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being she's all right, and 10 being I absolutely hate her, where does Abuela fall on the scale? Abuela. Yeah, where does Abuela fall on the scale? She was garbage. Okay. Well, wow, I was livid. Okay. She's pretty up there. All right. Okay. Well, the Mexican federal government would probably disagree with you. They have, a certain affinity for abuelas. So in 2006, when Mayor, what was his name? Andres Manuel Lopez. Remember him? He's the mayor of Mexico City. In 2006, he announced that he was going to run for president. And the federal government was adamantly against this because in 1998, the murder rates in Mexico City skyrocketed. They flew off the charts. And the weird thing about this was the people being murdered, all old ladies. They were killing the abuelas. They were killing all of the abuelas. Okay, all of them. They were all old ladies. In fact, so many old ladies died that speculation was that there was a serial killer, and they named this serial killer, let me try and say this right, El Mata Viejitas, which means the little old lady killer. El Mata Viejitas is running around Mexico City, slaughtering all of the abuelas. And the Mexican federal government believes that it is Mayor Lopez's fault because eyewitness statements say that the killer is a big burly man dressed in a nurse's outfit. The media runs wild with this, okay? We can't be out here killing the abuelas. Of all of the people that you could kill, you're gonna kill the abuelas? The media, and you know how salacious media is, right? So anything that they get, they're putting out there, whether it's true, whether it's not. Any tidbit of information is going in the papers. How else do you sell newspapers? Who's still buying newspapers in 2003? Who's still buying newspapers? Nobody. Nobody. But if they have a salacious headline, you know, El Mata Viejita strikes again. Probably the whole headline's in Spanish, but you know what I'm saying. The old lady killer is back. Of course you're gonna buy that paper. You wanna know what's in it. But the police in Mexico City avidly denied that any of these murders were connected. They had to, because they were behind Mayor Lopez, and Mayor Lopez's whole running platform was that he had given health care to the elderly and he wanted to bring it to the entire nation. So there's no way that someone is out here killing the elderly under the guise of being one of our nurses. None of these are connected. It's non-serial. So here, let me read you some of the murders, okay? Maria Gonzalez, no forced entry, beaten and strangled. Guillermina Orpiza, manually strangled, no forced entry. Marina Cortina, strangled with an electrical cord, 86 years old, no forced entry. I mean, I'm not a seamstress, but it's feeling patternish to me. Anyway, in 2003, these murders started happening in 1998. So in 2003, the police are finally ready to admit that maybe they're connected. Maybe this is a serial killer. That's when El Mata Viejitas is formally dubbed. They're afraid to publicize it though, because again, they're behind Mayor Lopez. And how is he going to ascend if this is his platform? After multiple eyewitnesses start saying that they have seen this big man in a nurse's uniform running from these women's houses, the police decide, okay, here's how we're going to handle this. Clearly, it has to be someone who is transgendered or someone who is a drag queen, someone who's cross-dressing, a man who's cross-dressing that is doing this. So the police went and round up every cross-dressing man, every sex worker, every transgendered man that they could find. And one by one, all of them were cleared. Who is killing the abuelas? But before we talk more about him, let's talk more about Juana Barraza. If you remember, Juana was the little girl born to a mother who was a complete junkie. Her mother has now died and she has moved to Mexico City, where she has taken on a bunch of different jobs, one including theft, but this job is her favorite job. Juana has taken her insecurity about not having any power in her situation from when she was young and she had to take care of her mother, to now using her power in ways that not only satisfy her physically, but also get her praise and money. She has become a luchador. She is a wrestler, and it's so dope. She named herself La Dama del Silencio, the Lady of Silence. How sick is that? So she is a luchador in Mexico City. She's out here wrestling, she's out here making money, and she's being praised for finally having some sort of power in her life. That was throughout the 80s and 90s. But by 2000, she was approaching 50 years old, and so she needed to be careful because abuelas are being murdered. Guadalupe Gonzalez, 74 years old, no forced entry, assaulted and strangled. Maria Morales, 87 years old, tied up and strangled. Ana Reyes, 82 years old, but Ana Reyes's case is a little bit different. Because with Anna, someone saw something and someone was in the absolute right place. Ana Reyes was found by the tenant who was renting her back room. He walked out, saw this white blur whoosh run past him, pushed open the door, and saw Ana Reyes laying on the floor, dead. And at that moment, he just starts screaming for the police. Imagine you walk down the street on a random Wednesday. And you don't usually walk, okay? You're not the type of person that takes walks, you know? You're just walking down the street on this random Wednesday, and you happen to look down, and there's $100 bill. What happens? What goes through your mind in that instance? Is it like wow, I'm so lucky? Or, wow, the fates really had it for me today. This was meant for me. Or is it like yeah, I'm just in the right place at the right time? Because I think maybe that's what went through this officer's head when he was standing on the corner next to his partner, and a white blur whooshes past him at the same time that he hears a man down the street yelling for the police. How wild is it that he's in the perfect place for this? So on this day, he's standing there. He hears the yell. He feels the whoosh. And I'm talking whoosh, like whoever is running, whoever is booking it at this point is like Ocho Cinco speed, okay? He is fast as fuck, boy. And this police officer thinks to himself and says to his partner in this moment, because, you know, we're doing great police work right now, we need to get him, and then we need to get over there. So they do just that. And this is wild. I agree that this is crazy that this lined up like this, but you can Google it. Not right now because that's against the rules, but you can Google it. This really happened. So they grab the person running, and they go over to where this man is screaming for the police. And they see Ana Reyes, 82 years old, laying on the ground in her apartment, strangled to death. And they think to themselves, oh my gosh, we just caught El Mata Viejitas. We just caught the old lady killer. But wait, there's no way we just caught the old lady killer, because the old lady killer is a man and this is a woman. And this woman is Ana Barraza. The media somehow shows up to this point because of course they do. Of course someone called the press. Of course they did. The police have Ana Barraza in the back of the police car, and just out of the window, somebody in the press asks her, did you do this? Did you kill all of these abuelas? And she says, yes, I did it. I did it. I killed every last one of them. And here's why. I've been waiting so long to tell you my story because you have no idea what I've been through. So the police take Juana Barraza to the police station, and they start questioning her. And it's like the story just starts flowing out of her. Like she has been waiting the majority of her life to tell the story of what happened to her and how she got here. And this story is so salacious, so interesting, that somehow, even though this is a criminal case, the press gets interview upon interview with Juana before she's ever even charged with anything. Here's the story that Juana told. Juana's life as a child was not great. We talked about that, right? Her mother was a drug addict. She was a raging alcoholic. She used to go through boyfriend after boyfriend after boyfriend. And Juana was stuck basically raising her throughout her childhood. What I didn't tell you was that her mother was also regularly beating her and arguing with her and yelling at her and basically just being terrible to her throughout her entire childhood. So one day, when Juana is 13 years old, she comes home and her mom doesn't want to fight that day. She doesn't want to beat her that day. She doesn't want anything really to do with her that day other than telling her, "You're going to go with him." And she points to a man. And Juana thinks to herself, I'm going to go with him where? I'm going to go with him and do what? No, I'm not. And her mother, Justa, says, no, you're going with him. Go, go, go. And Juana goes because rather than sit and fight with her mom, on a day when that appears that it's not going to happen, rather than fight with her mom, she just listens to her and she goes. And as she's walking out, she sees the man hand her mother 3 beers. So she and the man get to another house, and this whole time she's thinking to herself, yeah, my mom's a terrible mom. Like she's a really shitty mom, but there's no way that she sold me for 3 beers. How far into the 5-year time span that Juana spent with this man do you think she thought that? How long, after hours, after days, after weeks, after the first year, after multiple years, how long did it take for her to stop believing that there was no way her mom sold her to someone for 5 years? She spent 5 years trapped with that man, tied to his bed while he assaulted her, while he allowed his friends to assault her. She got pregnant at 13 and miscarried. She got pregnant again at 16 and miscarried. And this whole time, her mother is telling her family, no, she ran away with her boyfriend. She wanted to go. She's fine. I get letters from her all of the time. 5 years. And after 5 years, the rest of Juana's family was so fed up with what they assumed were just as lies that they finally went and reported her missing and started the search for her. And after 5 years, she's finally found and rescued. And when she gets back to her mother and her family, and she learns of the story that her mother told, that she just walked out, that she just left with the man that she was consensually having sex with, that she was in a relationship with this man at 13 and just wanted to leave with him, a part of her died inside. How could my mother treat me like that? And for the next 5 years, Juana just slowly unraveled. She spent 5 years as a prisoner with that man, and then she spent 5 more years as a prisoner in her own head because she had no idea how to even exist after a mother could do something like that to her and then lie about it. And then her mother died. And so when her mother died and Juana moved to Mexico City and she started stealing and then she got extorted and then she was at rock bottom, she snapped. Her rage overtook her and she just started taking out the hate and the disdain that she had for her mother on all of the old ladies. She killed her mother over and over and over again. There were almost 50. There were 48 abuelas that she murdered because she had issues with her mom. And I don't mean to laugh like I'm laughing because I'm like pissed off. You killed 50 people because you're mad at your mom, bro? Juana Barraza was sentenced to 759 years in prison. She's eligible for parole in 2058 when she will be 100 years old. And that's the story of Juana Barraza, El Mata Viejitas, the little old lady killer.